event where we share scientific and technical knowledge through presentations and discussions by connecting with various institutions and schools. And now I would like to welcome today's guest. We are honored to welcome respected Professor Amit Agarwal sir, Director of the Government Institute of Technology, Gopeshwar Chamoli. Under his visionary leadership, the institute has embarked on a remarkable journey and has emerged as one of the prominent and reputed centers of technical education in North India. Welcome, sir. We are really honored to have your presence with us. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Sandeep Negi, sir, our mentor, to welcome the guest and address the evening. Please, sir.
नमस्कार सभी को। उत्तराखंड तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय के दूरस्थ हिमालयी परिसरों में से एक गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी गोपेश्वर इस आइकन प्रतियोगिता सीरीज में जुड़ा हुआ है। इस संस्थान की पहचान यहाँ के डायनामिक डायरेक्टर आदरणीय प्रोफेसर अमित अग्रवाल सर की वजह से है। आपके डायनामिक व्यक्तित्व का असर है कि इस गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी गोपेश्वर ने प्रदेश में ही नहीं बल्कि देश में भी इस संस्थान की छवि व्यापक रूप से बढ़ाई है। यूटीयू द्वारा आयोजित प्रतियोगिता इंटर कॉलेजिएट प्रोजेक्ट कंपटीशन 2024 में आपके नेतृत्व में छात्रों की टीम को प्रथम स्थान प्राप्त हुआ था और आप देख ही रहे हो कि 26 अप्रैल से 30 अप्रैल 2026 तक चलने वाली इस आइकन सीरीज प्रतियोगिता में इस इंस्टीट्यूट की टीमें किस प्रकार से कौशल से अपना प्रेजेंटेशन दे रही हैं। तो मैं डॉक्टर संदीप नेगी आदरणीय प्रोफेसर अमित अग्रवाल सर का सादर स्वागत करके उद्बोधन हेतु आमंत्रित करता हूं। प्रोफेसर अमित अग्रवाल सर, प्लीज।
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandeep Negi. And first of all, on this initiation of this icon series by the Tech Shastra group from the Uttarakhand Technical University, I would like to congratulate to the university as well as all the technical teams of this Tech Shastra for such initiation. जैसे कि बच्चों आप सब लोग जानते होंगे कि आज की डेट में एआई जो है वो एक महत्वपूर्ण विषय नहीं है, ये हमारी आज की जरूरत बन चुका है। एंड इफ आई सी फॉर लास्ट आई थिंक 5-6 years तो आई सी दैट कि एआई जो है दैट हैज बीन रैपिडली स्प्रेडिंग इट्स डोमेन इन एवरी एरियाज। If you talk about medical science, if you talk agriculture, if you talk about defense, if you talk about industry, if you talk about education, in every sector, AI role is now mandatory. Or recently, we were having the discussion in the with the Honorable Secretary, and it was concluded that right now, we have to start AI course in every domain, whether the students belong to the law, whether the student belong to the pharma, whether it belong to the engineering side. In any discipline, AI is must, and that's why we are very soon going to try add the AI courses in all the programs, and very soon you will see that 30% syllabus that will be based on AI. Why I am talking about AI? Because as a अभी देखा आपने डॉक्टर संदीप ने बताया है कि अभी पिछले कुछ वर्षों में हमने यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर भी एआई को लेके काफ़ी अच्छे प्रोग्राम्स कराए हैं। जैसे आपने अभी देखा होगा कि अभी इससे पहले हमने डीप शिवा एक इवेंट कराया जिसमें देश भर से जो है काफ़ी बच्चों ने जो है इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया और 2 टीम जो है वो 3rd पोजीशन पे आई, क्योंकि अपने आप में एक चैटबॉट बनाना बहुत बड़ा एक टास्क है, बट उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया और दे गॉट द 1 लाख प्राइज फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर अचीवमेंट। और उससे पहले भी हमने जो है कुछ इवेंट कराए थे एआई को लेके, हैकाथॉन कराई थी यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर, जिसमें काफ़ी स्टूडेंट्स ने अलग अलग सेक्टर के अंदर जो है अपना जो है बहुत अच्छा काम किया। वाई आई एम सेइंग दिस वन? बिकॉज आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू दैट एआई इज मस्ट राइट नाउ, एंड सभी को एआई के में अध्ययन करना चाहिए, उसको समझना चाहिए और उसको अप्लाई करना चाहिए। और एआई आज की डेट में एक ऐसा टूल है जो आप इजीली घर बैठ के कहीं से भी उसको आराम से लर्न कर सकते हो। आपको उसके लिए कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई बहुत दूर जाने की जरूरत है, कोई उसके लिए हैंड्स ऑन की जरूरत है। आप घर बैठ के भी जो है ना, यू कैन लर्न एंड यू कैन अप्लाई द एआई टेक्निक्स एंड टूल्स इन एनी डोमेन एंड यू कैन गिव द नंबर ऑफ न्यू सॉल्यूशंस। अभी हम देख रहे हैं कि डेली हम देखते हैं कि नए नए सॉल्यूशंस मार्केट में आ रहे हैं। आज एआई का जो रोल है मेडिकल साइंस में देखें तो वहां पे भी इतना इसका फैंटास्टिक रोल हमें देखने को मिलता है कि उसकी हेल्प से जो है हम जो बीमारियां हैं, बीमारियों को भी जो है एआई की हेल्प से आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हैं। कई सारे सीटी स्कैन है और भी कई तरह की हमारे पास मशीनें हैं जिसकी हेल्प से जो है हम इजीली जो है कि क्या बीमारी है, हमें क्या डायग्नोस किया है, किस तरह से उसको जो है हमको ट्रीट करना है, वो सब कर रहे हैं। एग्रीकल्चर की बात करें, एग्रीकल्चर में भी आप देखते होंगे एग्रीकल्चर, हमारा कंट्री जो है वो एग्रीकल्चर बेस्ड है। और ऐसे में एग्रीकल्चर में हमको कौन कौन सी डिजीज हैं जो हमारी फसलों को खराब कर रही हैं, उसको कैसे हमें आइडेंटिफाई करना है, उसको कैसे ट्रीट करना है, और ऐसी हमें हमारी जो क्रॉप्स हैं उनको और बेटर कैसे बनाना है। आप देख रहे होंगे कि आज के डेट में मार्केट में जाओगे, मैं देखता हूँ फ्रूट्स भी जो है ना हमारे पहले से बहुत अच्छी क्वालिटी के आ रहे हैं। ऐसी वेजिटेबल्स भी देखते हैं तो वो कुछ वेजिटेबल्स जो सीजनल होती थी वो ऑल सीजन अवेलेबल है, बिकॉज दिस इज द बेनिफिट that we have used starting the use of the technology in this agriculture domain. डिफेंस की बात करें, आप देखते हो आजकल जो वार चल रही है ईरान और इसराइल के बीच में, इससे पहले रशिया और यूक्रेन की लड़ाई थी, वहां पे भी एआई का यूज कितना ज्यादा हो रहा है। तो एआई जो है सबसे पहले तो हमको अपने आप के अंदर ये डालना पड़ेगा कि एआई जो है एक ऐसा एरिया है जो शायद हमको इंस्पायर भी करता है, मोटिवेट भी करता है, और हमको ये भी देता है कि हमको इसमें ज्यादा ज्यादा काम करना चाहिए। क्योंकि अभी हम जितना लर्न कर पा रहे हैं, आप मैं देखता हूँ हमारे बच्चे भी जो हैं वो एआई में अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। और पहला स्टेप जो है वो स्टार्ट उनका पाइथन से होता है कि पाइथन लर्न करते हैं, देन उसके बाद फिर जो टेक्निक्स हैं और जो दूसरे जो टूल्स हैं उनको यूज करके देन दे आर अप्लाइंग इन द डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स। तो आप लोग भी जो है इसमें अपनी क्यूरियोसिटी बनाए रखिए, और जो आप प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे हैं उस प्रेजेंटेशन को भी देखिए कि उन प्रेजेंटेशन में कुछ ऐसे आइडियाज भी हों जिसको आप कल को जो है अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, जिससे जो है आप नई सोसाइटल सोल्यूशन दे सकते हैं। अभी कुछ हम रिसर्च करवा रहे हैं, इससे पहले जैसे वाइल्ड लाइफ पे हमने रिसर्च कराई, वो भी यही बेस्ड सोल्यूशन था जिसमें हम जो वाइल्ड लाइफ एनिमल्स हैं है ना उनको आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं, और जो ह्यूमन वाइल्ड लाइफ कन्फ्लिक्ट्स हैं उसको किस तरह से मिनिमाइज कर सकते हैं इन ऑर्डर टू सेव द विलेजर्स। क्योंकि हम देखते हैं कि आजकल अटैक बहुत ज़्यादा हो गए हैं। अभी एक प्रोजेक्ट हमारा चल रहा है, रिसर्च चल रही है, वो हमारा ट्रैफिक के ऊपर है। आप देख रहे हो ट्रैफिक एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो चुकी है। अब घर से बाहर निकलते ही हैं तो हम ट्रैफिक में ऐसे चौक हो जाते हैं, ऐसे फंस जाते हैं कि हमारा सारा शेड्यूल गड़बड़ हो जाता है। तो उसके अंदर भी हम रिसर्च करवा रहे हैं कि किस तरह से एआई की हेल्प से जो है हम ट्रैफिक के बेटर सोल्यूशन आइडेंटिफाई कर सकें। तो ऐसी कई सारे डोमेन्स हैं जहाँ पे जो है हम लोगों को काम करने की आवश्यकता है, और उसके लिए हमको बड़े ध्यान से जो है समझना पड़ेगा कि हमारे समाज में आसपास में क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, और उन प्रॉब्लम्स को जो है हम एआई की हेल्प से जो है किस तरह से जो है और बेटर बना सकते हैं। तो ये सब है, और भी कई सारी चीजें जैसे मैं अभी पढ़ रहा था, लोग देखते हैं आजकल कितने सारे कोर्ट केसेस हैं जो आपके जो है पेंडिंग चल रहे हैं, तो यहाँ पे भी एआई को लाया जा रहा है। इवन कई सारे प्रोग्राम्स हैं जिसमें जो बीए एलएलबी कर रहे हैं लोग, इस तरह बीटेक एलएलबी भी है, कहीं यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफर कर रही हैं, तो उसमें एआई को अप्लाई किया जा रहा है लॉ के अंदर। तो आपके पास भी ऑप्शंस हैं कि आप कुछ इस तरह के नए टूल्स, नए प्रोजेक्ट ले सकते हैं जहाँ पे जो है लॉ सेक्टर में भी आप एआई को यूज कर सकते हैं। स्मार्ट सिटीज में मैंने बताया आपको कि जो है ट्रैफिक भी एक बहुत बड़ा है सोल्यूशन है, एरिया है जहाँ पे हमें एआई की जरूरत है। ऑटोनोमस व्हीकल की बात करें, आजकल ऑटोनोमस व्हीकल्स भी जो है धीरे धीरे आ रहे हैं और उसमें भी एआई का यूज हो रहा है। इसी तरह आप देखते हैं कि जो है आपका स्टॉक मार्केट है ना, वहां पे भी एआई का यूज आ रहा है। तो इस तरह से कई सारे नए सेक्टर्स हैं, इमर्जिंग सेक्टर्स हैं जहाँ पे जो है आप लोगों को जो है एआई को अप्लाई करना चाहिए, और एआई की हेल्प से जो है आप नए सॉल्यूशन दे सकते हैं, सोसाइटी को और हेल्प मिलेगी अपना काम फास्ट करने के लिए। प्रोडक्शन भी हम और बेटर कर सकते हैं। अभी आप इंडस्ट्री 4.0 के बारे में पढ़ रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं कि अभी इंडस्ट्री 4.0 जो है इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है, और साथ में जो है अब इंडस्ट्री 5.0 भी आ चुका है मार्केट में, और उस पर भी काम हो रहा है। तो ऐसे में जो है हमको अपनी जो पकड़ है एआई में वो और मजबूत करने की जरूरत है। rather than अभी हमें लगता है कि हमने ये प्रोग्राम बना किया है, प्रोजेक्ट बना लिया है, इट इज सफिशिएंट। नो, अभी इसमें बहुत काम होना है। आने वाले जो हमारे दशक है, उस दशक में आप देखिए पूरा रेवोल्यूशन आएगा और पूरा का पूरा जो सिनेरियो है पूरा चेंज हो जाएगा। अभी आज हम मोबाइल देखते हैं, मोबाइल पे देखते हैं कि जो है इतनी नई सारी ऐप्स हैं, उसकी ऐप से हम काफी कुछ जान रहे हैं। आप सोचिए अभी मुश्किल से जो है एक दशक भी नहीं हुआ होगा, और दो है ना, ज्यादा 2 दशक की बात कीजिए, उससे पहले हम PNT यूज करते थे, है ना, टेलीफोन सिस्टम यूज करते थे और बड़ा ही ट्रेडिशनल था। आज 2 दशक में ही कितना चेंज आ गया है कि हम जो है कितना फास्ट हो गए हैं। और ये सब जो है कंप्यूटर्स की देन है, इंटरनेट की देन है, और साथ में जो है AI जो है वो इसमें एक फैंटास्टिक रोल जो है वो निभा रहा है। तो ऐसे कई सारी एरियाज हैं जहाँ पे जो है आप AI की जो है उसको अच्छे ढंग से इस्तेमाल करके नए सोल्यूशन दे सकते हैं। सुरक्षा की बात करें, डिफेंस की बात करें, वहाँ पे भी जो है हमें AI की जो एप्लीकेशन हैं उसको बनाने की आवश्यकता है, ताकि जो है हम उस एरिया में भी जो है और बेटर जो है सोल्यूशन दे सकते हैं। ड्रोन की बात करें, ड्रोन एक बहुत अच्छा एक विकल्प आया है कई चीज़ों को एग्जामिन करने का, एनालाइज करने का, और इवन आजकल तो सामान डिलीवरी करने के लिए भी ड्रोन का यूज हो रहा है। आपने देखा होगा डिफेंस में भी ड्रोन का कितना से यूज हो रहा है ना। तो ऐसे में जो है ड्रोन तभी अच्छे से काम कर सकते हैं उसके साथ AI को आप सही तरीके से उसको फिट कर सकते हैं। तो ये सब एरियाज हैं जिसमें जो है मुझे लगता है कि जो है आपको बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान देने की जरूरत है। और जो भी स्टूडेंट्स काम कर रहे हैं उनको मेरी तरफ से जो है बेस्ट ऑफ लक, कि आप बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। और ये जो टेक शस्त्र जो है, ये जो आपने एक टेक्निकल ग्रुप बनाया है यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर, वाकई ये एक नई दिशा दे रहा है हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो किसी भी रिमोट एरिया में हैं, क्योंकि आज की डेट में ये हमारी एफिलिएटिंग यूनिवर्सिटी जो है पूरे स्टेट के जितने भी टेक्निकल स्टूडेंट्स हैं सबको कैटर कर रही है। तो ऐसे में मैं चाहूँगा कि आपके जितने भी और भी साथी हैं उनको भी बोलिए कि इसके माध्यम से अपनी बात बताएं और सभी लोग डिस्कस करें। और हो सकता है कि कुछ आइडिया ऐसा हो जो शायद मैं अकेले ना कर पाऊँ, आपके साथ मिलकर करेंगे तो हम इस आइडिया को और अच्छे तरीके से जो है उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं और आने वाले इस सोसाइटी को एक अच्छे सोल्यूशन देंगे। कल को हो सकता है कि जो हम सोच, हमारा सपना है कि हम इंडिया को भी जो है बिल्कुल AI ड्रिवन बना दें, तो उसके लिए आप लोग जो है जो न्यू जनरेशन है ना, उसका जो है बहुत बहुत इसमें जो है सहयोग होने वाला है। उसके लिए जो है आप लोगों की बहुत ज़्यादा मदद की जरूरत है। और आप देखते हैं कि हमारे जो युवा हैं वो IT में आते हैं, हमें लगता है कि हम ChatGPT या जेमिनी जैसे टूल को यूज करके हम काम कर लें। हमें लगता है कि हमको अपने कुछ अपना इंडिजीनियस बनाना चाहिए। और उसी लिए जो है ये जो हमने ग्रुप बनाए हैं, वो ग्रुप का पर्पस यही है कि हम अपने आप को सही दिशा दे सकें और उसके तहत जो है हम जो है आने वाले समय में जो है अपनी भी पहचान बनाएं, अपने देश की भी पहचान बनाएं, अपने विश्वविद्यालय की पहचान बनाएं। यही जो है हमारा संकल्प है और यही हमारा जो है उद्देश्य है। और आप सभी को पुनः जो है बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। और आई होप दैट कि जो है आप बहुत अच्छा काम करके दिखाएंगे और आपकी वजह से आपके परिवार का और विश्वविद्यालय का और हमारे देश का नाम होगा, ऐसी मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू डॉक्टर संदीप, थैंक यू सो मच।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डायरेक्टर गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी गोपेश्वर। आपके प्रेरणादायक शब्दों से आइकन पार्टिसिपेंट, टेक शास्त्र और पूरी टीम को एक मोटिवेशन मिला है सर। और सर भविष्य में भी इसी प्रकार की सीरीज में आपका मार्गदर्शन हमको मिलता रहेगा। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नमस्कार सर।
थैंक यू। नमस्कार।
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivating words. Now I will start with the presentation. Upcoming first is Mr. Dhruv Gupta presenting on modern drone warfare.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
So the question arises, the most important thing in today's warfare is the human and the money. Least damage to us even on monetary basis and max damage to enemy on all bases. Modern warfare, modern drone warfare, the unmanned revolution. My name is Dhruv Gupta from Faculty of Technology, Veer Madhu Singh Bhandari, Uttarakhand Technical University. The, before jumping to understanding what are the drones, we should know what is the core philosophy of unmanned systems. Unmanned aerial vehicles, zero human vulnerability, and decisive combat role are its three pillars. Unmanned aerial vehicles dominate the unmanned systems. UAV and UCAVs deployed for precision strike, persistent surveillance, and electronic warfare for combat domains. Zero human vulnerability. No army commander, no defense personnel wants to sacrifice its men for just the sake of enemies' combat sites or strategic locations because men are very crucial. Decisive combat role. In 21st century, drones are now evolved in such a way that they can perform autonomously on their own. Just they need the brief of task, what they have to achieve, and what they have to do. The evolution of drone warfare. Drone is not a new concept. It is from mid 1800s. But then, but at that time, it was just like a balloon carrying explosives. But there was a problem that if air blows on your side, then the hole you have digged for your enemy, you jumps into that only. Then occurs Cold War era. Drones are secondary. Then also they were only used for mere surveillance systems and for logistics carrying purposes. For example, Rand Farby saw extensive use during Vietnam-American War, and but just for using of reconnaissance purposes. Post 9/11, now this at this time the drones became weaponized. The state-of-the-art drone MQ-9 Predator transformed into an armed platform which can carry weapons and can neutralize sites, persons, or for which has been intended and programmed for. And then comes swarm tactics. Hold this word, gentlemen. I will be talking about this in my future slides. Then strategic imperatives. Why drones? Why should not we use men? The answer to the question is question itself. Zero pilot risk. We don't want our men to be sacrificed or killed or captured behind the enemy line. Unmatched blood time. Drones can hover upon a site for hours, 24, 40, 72 hours to count the hours and it will be there. But you can't hover your helicopter or fighter jets over an enemy location without getting unnoticed, but just for few hours. Cost efficiency. I can give you an example of cost efficiency from a recent deal that is of 114 Rafale jets. The amount in which we are buying 114 Rafale jets, we can buy state-of-the-art MQ-9 Reaper drones in the number of 300 to 310. This shows that drones are cheaper to the in comparison to sophisticated state-of-the-art fighter jets, which is economical for the states who can't afford much amount of money but need to protect their borders. Data integration. Modern warfare act as flying data hub, instantly feeding real-time battlefield intelligence to the ground commanders so that they can take real-time decisions and change the course of the war. Transformative strategic significance. Asymmetric advantage. As I mentioned, that drones are now cheaper in comparison to sophisticated other air platforms, and hence it is beneficial for small nations and non-state actors to use these drones for countermeasures against a country which is having large number of military budgets. An example is Iran and American war. Iran doesn't have a huge amount of economy, but is challenging America uh, by just using their drones and downing the F-15 Eagle-like state-of-the-art fighter jets that have dominated the air for decades. Psychological warfare. Psychological warfare means that you should always be in a state of tension or danger, that there is always a drone above your head which can bomb you anywhere, anytime, wherever the commander of enemy wants. Redefining the front line. Drones erase traditional battle lines. Earlier, it was that the range of your weapon commands your battle lines, but the unmatched loiter timing of these drones expanded the traditional battle lines from just few kilometers to 1,000 kilometers. For example, Ukraine has neutralizes the strategic sites of Russia, which was 4,000 kilometers away from Ukraine, which was a significant kind of military attack in today's warfare. Tactical and operational impact. Surgical precision. High fidelity sensors enable strikes in dense, complex environments with minimal collateral damage. No other platform is able to do such a precision attack that a drone can do. Force multiplier. In army, there is always a shoot and scoot. That is, you fire an artillery and you move from there. But you can use drones to know where will be the future location of that artillery unit, and you can directly bomb on that location so that the enemy artillery can be neutralized and your men can pass to those regions easily. This enhances, this multiplies your force, expandability. Commander can take now bolder tactical risk, which it was not be able to take before because don't want to compromise their men for just the sake of combat sites. Because you can buy a fighter jet from few $1 million, but you can't buy the best air pilot again. Combat providing ground, recent conflict. I will give you three examples where drones were used extensively and changed the course of today's modern warfare. Nagorno-Karabakh 2020, a war between Armenia and Azerbaijan occurred in 2020 in which Azerbaijan was having Turkish TV-2 drones and Armenia was having Soviet-era world-class level air defense systems. But these drones overwhelmed that air defense system and neutralized those air defense systems in just a mere of seconds. But thus, it is not just a simple thing. It changed the whole course of war because Armenia was now air defense. The airspace of Armenia was now compromised. Russia-Ukraine War 2020. Russia and Ukraine War is the best example to study about drones, AI, and all things. Ukraine is using extensively drones to counter the Russians' majestic tanks, their sites, which have proven been a successful. About 60 to 70% of frontline equipment was damaged by Russia's only FPV drones, that is first-person drones. Naval warfare disruption. Again, an example of Russia-Ukraine war. Ukrainian uncrewed surface vessel demonstrated that cheap autonomous boats could effectively neutralize multi-billion-dollar naval fleets in the Black Sea. On the Ukraine side, there was a less budget, no man, but on Russian side, $1 billion naval fleet is gone, and their men have been drowned just by that mere attack of a drone or unmanned system. Strategic range drone system and tactical range drone system. There are two types of drone system. First of all, we should know what is strategic and tactical. Strategic means long term, all those sites that can change the course of war during a long period, long term, we call it a strategic. But tactical means where we can gain short term benefits from that thing. So here comes three kind of drones. Hail, high altitude, long endurance drone. All the drones that can have service ceiling of 60,000 feet and can loiter upon a state or a site for about days and has a range of 250 kilometers of reconnaissance comes into this category. The famous example is RQ-4 Global Hawk. They have been using extensively for reconnaissance purposes, and hail drones are only used for reconnaissance and data gathering purposes. Then comes MAIL, medium altitude, long endurance drones. They have less service ceiling than hail ones, but they have one more capability that they can be used for reconnaissance as well as for combat purposes. The major example is AIKN Reaper and India's indigenous Tapas BH-201. Here we can utilize the enemy site if we want. We have to just arm that drone, and along with reconnaissance, it can utilize that site. The drone strike in which Baghdadi of Iran was killed was done by a male AIKN Reaper drone only, and it is a thing of a decade old. So you can know how much drones have been evolved from a decade. UCAV, unmanned combat aerial vehicles. These are the vehicles that are jet powered. Other words were not powered by jet, but UCAVs are powered by jet. They have stealthy drone design so that they can unable to see to the enemy's air defense and can enter deep inside the space without being any loss to our human side, as well as they can strike the strategic locations easily. UCAVs are the one of the alternatives of fighter jets in long future. We can see tactical range drone systems, loitering munitions, FPV drones, and swarm drones. Loitering munitions. After all, it is also termed as kamikaze drones. Loitering means hovering upon a site. Kamikaze is a Japanese word that means a site. In this, a drone is hover upon a location of enemy for hours, and under the action or under the command of a commander that is controlling that unit of loitering munitions, they can dive into that location and bomb it into pieces of just scraps. The best example is the Switchblade and Iranian Shahid 136 drones, FPV drones. All those drones that you have seen in the marriages, in your life, are the example or derivatives of the FPV drones that has been used in military. In military, they are being used for logistic purposes, surveillance purposes, and for medical equipment carrying purposes. But all along with, they can carry explosives about a certain limit. Swarm drones, as I mentioned, that this is a today is the era of swarm drones. Swarm drones means using inexpensive, cost-effective drones that have similar damage as a state-of-the-art drone can do. But its advantage is it can be manufactured at a quick rate. They have very less. Uh, they are very inexpensive. They are cheap, but they can cause a little damage because they are made to overwhelm the enemy's air defense. Because every air defense has a limit of being saturated, and if it gets saturated, one missile more can neutralize it completely and making the airspace of enemy compromised. Then comes the drone global market. We have talked about drones a lot, but now we should know that this is not just a simple thing. It has a market value of 24.25 billion, which is projected in 2034 to grow about 63 billion. An example of this growing economy of drone is that 1 million plus US Army procurement. That is, only just US Army has procured 1 million plus tactical drone alone. I'm not talking about strategic, they are just tactical drones. The market value is currently dominated by North American manufacturers like Northrop Grumman from their MQ-9 Reaper drones and Lockheed Martin from RQ-4 Global Hawk. But Asia Pacific region has been growing faster in the market of drone. China is dominating over the production capabilities. Russia and Ukraine, Russia, Iran, Turkey are heavily used or famous for their kamikaze drones that are being cheap along with very effective. But India is not far behind. We are working upon our R&D solutions, other R&D solutions, as well as we are working on the assembling of those drones inside our country so that the production rate can be matched as of China. India's drone revolution from import dependency to global powerhouse. India earlier used to just cut checks for buying equipment, and then we are now in the era where India builds its own drones, its own weapon systems, its own things that are used in those systems. The drone market in India perfect storm for growth. Why drone market of India is flourishing other than other sectors that we have seen earlier in defense? The three reasons is explosive market growth. The Indian drone market is soaring, backed by massive push for domestic defense modernization. Government pushing is whole accelerator above domestic defense modernization. There is no doubt that we can buy from other nations, but in India, it has been regulation under 2021 drone rules that you can't buy a stock drone from an outside country. You have to either assemble it or produce a part of it or part of it inside India so that you can call it an Indian drone. And there is a catch in this regulation too. You can't buy the products, you can't buy the equipment that are sourced from enemy nations. And this is a boon for India because drone market is heavily dominated by China and it is an enemy nation. So we have to produce all the things that a drone consists of, the electronics, the earth magnets, everything by our own, which increases our capability in drone market and making India to stand as a global drone hub startup ecosystem. Due to these two things, that government is pushing a lot on drones, the startup ecosystem has bloomed in India. We have now housed 500 drone-related companies, rapidly moving from assembly imported system to manufacturing Indian indigenous flight controlled and frames. The example is Solar Defense, Idea Force, and what other, and they are making a global level drone today. India's place in global drone landscape. The paradigm shift from cutting checks to buy those drones like Heron, MQ-9. We are now transitioning to make our own drone that can be bought by the world too. For example, it's a Cats Warrior, Tapas drone. Strategic geography. India's complex high-altitude borders with China and Pakistan make it one of the largest operational environments for military drones in the world. These challenges, terrains, and demand sophisticated indigenous solutions tailored to specific operational requirements. That means if any drone is tested inside India because of its very terrain inside India and rigorous testing standards of Indian Defense Forces, It makes it very easy to buy for the other nation to just pay the money and buy the drones, because your drone have been tested a lot, so you can just shrink that test line into a mere of month. And third is export ambition. India is positioning itself to be a global drone hub by 2030. That is 4 years down the line. Targeting exports to friendly nations in Asia Pacific. It makes India a global hub because of our strategic partnership, extreme conditions, competitive pricing, and our scale of producing those drones in mass. India's progress major defense program leading the way. We are not just assembling or importing those drones. We are making our own other kind of drones that are not being made by all the nations in India, or sorry, in the globe. Ghatak stealth UK. Only three countries are there, 3 to 4 countries are there who are making the stealth UCAVs. That is Russia, China, India, and America. In India, we have been there is a landmark move in March 26 that Defense Acquisition Council approved 4 squadrons, that means 600 drones, jet powered from our own Kaveri derivative engine. That is along again an indigenous thing, and it is a stealth combat drone that can work along with the fighter jets of modern technology to neutralize the enemy side, which makes India very less dependable on other sources and a export hub too. Swarm drone induction. Indian Army has become one of the first major global forces to fully operationalize high density swarm UAVs. Indian Army is one of the armies in the world that have assigned a platoon inside an army inside every battalion named Ashini, which is highly trained in operating UAVs and storm drones. Tabas BH-201. The drone you are seeing on the left is Ghatak Stealth UCAV, and the drone you are seeing on your right is Tapas BH-201, India's indigenous male drone, closing in on final operations. It has been now clearing the final operational clearances from the defense forces, and then it will go into testing phases, and after that it will be inducted in mere 5 to 6 years. And it can enter the mass production in just 3 to 4 years. Similar goes for the key players, the architects of India's drone industry. The major partner of Indian drone industry the uh, is this is this company that is named Idea Forge. It is a company made by alumni of IIT Bombay in 2008 while they were studying inside the campus. They worked on it and they make drone of such a quality they have been exported to army in high numbers. I can give you an example of Idea Force drone that you have seen, all guys have seen 3 Idiots. The drone that Amir Khan flies in that movie is of Idea Forge, and its name was Switch. New Space Research and Technologies. They are pioneers in swarm technologies inside our country. Localization push. As I mentioned, that you can't buy the rare earth magnet or crucial components from outside the country and especially from the enemy nation. So we are pushing on localization of these components so that our R&D, our market, our economy, and uh, our local businesses can ponder upon it and flourish. The future of warfare is very engaging, and shifting of dynamics on the modern warfare battle makes very crucial for modern drone warfare. Technology behind modern drone warfare. There are four core technologies of unmanned systems, that is navigation control, sensor technologies, communication system, and AI and machine learning. Navigation control, GPS, inertial measurement, units, and advanced flight controls. Algorithms make anybody who is in career of navigation and control want to go in navigation control can uh, uh, make new kind of discoveries of using the drones in GPS environments, using inertial measurement units, which so that our drone should act precisely as possible. Communication system, secure and reliable satellite communication link ensure command and control over extended distance, maintaining higher operational integrity. Anybody who works in communication system knows that how much it is important in an warfare to have secure communication line. Sensor technologies. Sensor technologies means high resolution cameras, infrared sensors, radars, because these sensors are only the eyes of a drone, of a high quality drone. So if anybody wants to work in a field of IoT, we can explore the sensor technologies also. And but last but not the least, AI and machine learning. AI powers autonomous decision making, target recognition, and swarm coordination, enabling sophisticated mission execution with minimal human intervention. We are able to make drones in such a way that they are just need to be assigned a task, their pros and cons, and their few things that are need to be understood by the drone, and all other things are decided by AI. So how to operate in that environment, any change of plan that it can do, so that repercussions should be less. AI cybersecurity and countermeasures. Drones are like commanded by a communication line, so they can be hacked. So there is a chance of cybersecurity threat. Drones remain vulnerable to sophisticated hacking attempts and cyber attacks. So who works in a cybersecurity domain can explore how he can be on blue team to prevent the red team, that means the enemy, from hacking the systems easily. He can work upon other things like autonomous operation. AI algorithms enable drone to perform complex tasks with minimal human intervention, as I mentioned earlier. In drone, there is a technique that I can mention, that when a drone was hovering upon the Baghdadi location where Baghdadi of Iran was hiding, the drone was hovering upon it for hours. But only when he saw and matched the facial recognition, faces, target, and all the charts it was being given, data has been given that it is a Baghdadi, only then it attacked it. Otherwise, it could have returned to the base as soon as the his battery or his propulsion could end. Directed energy weapons. One who is working in electronics or electrical can work upon direct energy weapons, because as drones are growing, so does their countermeasures are growing. And directed energy weapons provides a cost-effective measure to counter these drones easily. Jamming systems, radio frequency interference to disrupt command lines and control communication. You can be a person who discovers or innovates the radio frequencies, so that we can interrupt the enemy's drone and protect our ones also. Cybersecurity countermeasures, active cyber attacks to seize, control or disable enemy drone platforms. Current opportunities in drone systems, as I mentioned, are those 5 to 6, and along with these 5, you can add up to 15. That is drone pilots and operators. That we need highly trained pilots and operators to use those drones easily, for mainly for FPV drones, that is first person view drones. Data analytics personnel who interpret intelligence gathered by drones, transforming new that raw sensor data into actionable data for the army, for the defense. Software engineers develop and maintain. These drones are a club of electronics, mechatronics, robotics, and of course computer science. So we need software engineers who can make the weapons so much undetectable, autonomous, self-autonomous, that they can work without any kind of human intervention. Their software should be of such a state of art that it can easily challenge F-35A, F-35 drone, sorry, F-35 software. Cybersecurity experts, research and developers. You can innovate new drone technologies, application capabilities to maintain technology and advantage on future battlefield. I give you here a bonus of that. Indian Army is extensively finding people on their IDs platform that who can work their drones, who can make their drones to work in GPS denied environment. If anybody is interested, he can contact me. We can work on all those things together. Also, future trends and ethical considerations, emerging capabilities, ethical framework, increased autonomy through advanced AI decision making, swarm tactics, hypersonic drones. We are now have made subsonic drones, so we are looking towards hypersonic drones that can evade enemy radars with such a speed that they have struck the location and return to the base. Then enemy gets to know that it has been struck. Integration with fighter jets, that is loyal wingman concept, that there is a mothership of fighter jets that controls numerous drones which can enter into enemy airspace, and human that is inside the fighter jet is in the safer area in comparison to those drones. Ethical framework, minimizing collateral damage to civilians. Again, here the precision comes that drones should be that much precise that it causes minimal collateral damage. Addressing surveillance and privacy concerns. The drone should not be compromised, or you have such a malware that it is being leaking its own surveillance or data to the enemy. Developing international regulations, preventing drone technology arm races. as like of nuclear, as like a fighter jet, there should be a halt of using drone technologies, and there should not be an arm race, because one after a year we will regret that why should we create drone, as like we regret why we created nuclear bombs. So, emerging capabilities and ethical framework. Here is an example that I want to give you from movie Ant-Man 3. In Ant-Man, Tony Stark created number of suits, Ant-Man suits, about 40 to 50, so that they can be used in case of any attack. They were self-autonomous. They can work on the command of Tony and can work autonomously on themselves. But due to piracy, or you can say due to some kind of action by enemy, they turned against them. They were started to analyze the whole population of New York. And this was the analysis. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Dhruv, for your presentation. Now, for second presentation, I would like to call Miss Mansi Kukshal, presenting on the topic Innovation in Tech. Mansi, are you here with us? Okay, so since Mansi is not here with us, we will move to next presentator, Mr. Mohammad Shavez Ali, presenting on space tech.
Hello.
Will you be able to present right now, Mr. Chavez?
हाँ सवाज वाली जुड़ पा रहे हो आप? मानसी,
So Mansi is not joined with us right now.
अमित वर्मा सर हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं? वर्मा सर, सवेज तो लेफ्ट कर गए हैं.
Yes, sir.
मानसी से बात हुई थी, थोड़ा कॉल कर लो, नहीं तो देख लो क्या पता नहीं.
Okay, sir. So now, now instead of Mansi and Chavez, there is Yojit, and he will present on the topic neural networks.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, I will start presenting my screen. So, is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is.
So, good evening to one and all present here. I am Yojit Pandey from FOT BTech CSC first year, and today I am going to present a presentation on Introduction to Neural Networks, the dawn of intelligent machine, exploring how biological information gave rise to one of the most transformative technologies of our era. When we first hear the word neural network, the first thing that might come to your mind is the nervous system that we have studied in biology in our previous classes. Well, it is after all inspired from our brain only. The neural networks are modeled directly on our brain structures, which have billions of small neurons tightly packed, which communicate via electrical pulses. Each neuron receives thousands of inputs, sums them, and fires its own output signal. And the brain strengthens or weakens synaptic connections based on its experience, due to which it is able to recognize good experiences and bad experiences, and based on that, learn from its experience, which is the core principle behind machine learning. Now, so what basically is a neural network? Now that we know that it's only inspired from our brain only, we see that it has a layered architecture consisting of input, hidden, and output layers, which we will later explore in detail, which processes the information sequentially, and as the information is goes on, the next layer understands it much better. And there is a weight and activation that each input consists, and when it is passed on to the next neuron, it is able to check it with the true value, and so it is able to learn based on it. Now, how the neural network started and its history. It was first hypothesized by McCulloch-Pitts model and Rosenblatt's perceptron, which sparks the initial excitement and based that how we can build technology based on our brain system only. However, due to the limitation of that era, the hypothesis quickly declined as they were not able to make models that can keep up with it. Next, in the 1980s, a second wave arose as Hopfield network and backpropagation algorithms renewed the interest in this. However, the momentum also faded by the mid 90s, and from 2012 onward to present, the deep networks trained on massive data sets with GPU, which achieved the state of art results in vision, language, and beyond, which enabled neural networks to expand much more rapidly. Now, how the neural networks layer works. So, what basically happens is that first an input is provided to the neural network at the input layer, which consists its own weight. Then, a part of the neuron layer, then it is transferred to the next layer, which has its own bias term and its application functions, which produced a binary output. And then it is presented at the output layer, which is then checked through the true value, and this is the learning rule, which based on the output layer and its matching with the true value, adjusts the weights and bias based on the misclassified examples. Now, learning from data is the core of the intelligence of neural network, as it transforms raw data into knowledge by continuously refining their internal representations through experience. Now, what is the need of going through deep learning? Well, deep learning uses hierarchical and composed features from a simple edge to complex concept. What it basically is imagine that when we look at a number which is disorientated, we can easily identify what it is. Or when we look at someone else's handwriting, while it may not be the one that we are used to, our brain can still easily recognize the patterns. A similar thing is done with the neural network. As more and more patterns are studied, more and more raw data is provided, the AI is easily able to identify these patterns and produce much more accurate result, which will then coincide with the true value. So this enables automatic feature discovery as networks extract complex representation directly from raw data and eliminate manual features in engineering. And each layer builds on the last layer, enabling understanding of increasingly abstract pattern, which is called hierarchical learning. Now, so as we have learned from this, that data is the key and the thumb rule for achieving a reliable results. More the data, the better will be the results provided to us by neural networks. Or we can say that neural networks are data hungry and their performances scales with the dataset size and the quality of the data it is provided. Now, when we are providing a lot of amount of raw data, it is always obvious that there will also be a loss. So neural networks along with learning also need to minimize the loss. So the core objective is to find optimal weights and biases that minimizes a loss function, which is a measure of how wrong the network's prediction are from the true value, which is done by the first step regression, mean squared error, in which we take the mean square of the error and we penalize large prediction errors and for ideal continuous output. Then is classification of errors based on binary cross entropy, which measures the difference between predictive probabilities and the true labels. And finally, optimization, in which through gradient descent, one navigates the loss landscapes and steps towards the bias and functions value, which will provide the least minimum error. Now, how can neural network be applied in our daily life? So first is in computer vision, which includes image recognition, image detection, and autonomous driving system. As we've seen that now autonomous driving cars are also a new trend which is coming in the world, and one of the main thing from them is also neural network, as they continuously need to learn from the traffic patterns through image recognition and object detection, which may occurs on the road, which can be common signs or can be people or other animal passing by the road. Next is language processing modules, machine translation, chatbots, and sentiment analysis, and powering tools like ChatGPT. They are all only possible due to large data analysis, which makes language processing possible. Healthcare, disease diagnosis, drug discovery, and personalized medicine at scale. With the help of AI from the raw data, we can easily diagnose a disease which is present in the patient, which might be missed by a doctor due to human error. But while the AI can easily recognize the patterns of the symptoms which a patient is showing, making the disease recognition much more easier and feasible. And last is finance and weather. We can use neural networks to constantly adapt to the fraud algorithm, due to which they can easily detect spam messages and can filter them out from reaching to the user base. And then they can also be used for forecasting models and for weather reports because of the large amount of data which is supplied to them. Now the next revolution is the transformer revolution, which made language models possible. The transformer architecture introduced attention mechanism, enabling AI to process entire sequences in parallel and capture long-range dependency, a breakthrough that made large language models possible. Its strengths include parallel processing and long-range context and scalable architecture. which makes it possible to quickly analyze what the speaker is trying to say and generate an output which is easily understandable to the speaker and and is very useful for translation. However, at the same time, due to the parallel processing and multiple complex processes, it needs massive computing power. It has a high cognitive complexity and takes high memory cost. The future scale and efficiency and generative AI. The frontier models with trillions of parameters are expected by 2028, pushing the reasoning and generalization further. Efficiency innovation. There are new innovation like 4-bit quantizations, speculative decoding, and sparse architecture reducing interference, which can cause the cost to go down dramatically. And next is generative AI, which can easily create images, text, musics, and other documents, serving as natural language interfaces for complex system. And furthermore, new architectures like mixture of experts and structured space state space models are redefining what is possible due to AI. Yes. Next, the challenges and opportunities. When there is a new system, there is of course many challenges and opportunities that lies in its parts. So we must be able to navigate the path forward. The promise of neural network is immense, but so are the responsibilities. Progress requires balancing innovations with ethic, scales with sustainability, and capability with accountability. Neural networks has its own challenges like the enormous data requirement to ensure sufficient high quality data and unbiased training data. Ethical consideration, which includes bias, fairness, and responsible AI development. As AI trains on data, it is essential to ensure that the data is unbiased and is fair, and at the same time also does not interfere with any legal boundaries. But at the same time, the opportunities it holds immense computational powers and specialized hardware needs, and the advancement that it can make with the help of predictive data. The evolving landscape of intelligence. Neural networks are not just tools, they are evolving into sophisticated systems capable of complex reasoning, creation, and discovery. As we move into the future, they will get more integrated with AI, and it will get indulged in our daily life as it is now. And it will become more and more efficient, and smarter architectures will be delivered, which will provide much more at a lower cost. The impact and future of neural network. From recognition to generation, neural networks will further evolve to not only be able to recognize pattern but also generate pattern, which can help in making audio which can help in making audio at human like quality. Next is driving AI advancement. As the future prolongs, more data, raw data will be provided to them, and more will it advance the AI as powerful breakthroughs occur in healthcare, autonomous vehicle, natural language processing, and scientific discovery. And so the journey continues. Even larger networks and more sophisticated architectures will continue to come out, pushing the boundaries of what machines can understand. Thank you. So now, if anyone has any doubts,
Thank you so much, Yojit, for your presentation. It was really comprehensive and detailed, and I'm sure everyone here got to learn a lot from it. Now, I would like to again call Mr. Mohammad Shaviz Ali for his presentation on space tech.
Hello. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
It has been not sharing the screen. So can I do it tomorrow?
Please say that again.
It has been not sharing the screen.
Yes, we are not able to see your screen.
Closed.
Are you asking to reschedule your presentation for tomorrow?
Yeah.
For tomorrow.
Okay, no problem.
Is Mansi present here?
No, sir, actually, she is not picking up the call.
Okay. Then आज के लिए इतना ही काफी है मेरी समस्या है।
Yes, sir.
टाइम तो आज डायरेक्टर आईटी गोपेश्वर हमारे साथ अवेलेबल थे एज ए गेस्ट और उनका मार्गदर्शन हमको मिला और कल की प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए जो चीफ गेस्ट हमारे आने वाले हैं बल्कि हमारे स्टूडेंट भी हैं और मिस्टर आदित्य चौधरी एमएसएमई से आने वाले हैं। तो आप में से सभी स्टूडेंट्स जो इसमें पार्टिसिपेशन जिनका है वो मैक्सिमम स्ट्रेंथ के साथ कल प्रेजेंट रहेंगे क्योंकि काफी अच्छी चीजें नई टेक्नोलॉजी से रिलेटेड इसमें आपको सीखने को मिलेंगी। तो सभी जो पार्टिसिपेंट जो अभी ध्रुव गुप्ता और योजित ने आज प्रेजेंट किया उन लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आगे भी इसी प्रकार से आपके प्रेजेंटेशंस आइकन सीरीज में रहेंगे। तो आप दोनों को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आगे कल के लिए हम इसको करते हैं फिर। ठीक है धन्यवाद।
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining today. It is your cooperation that makes this event worthwhile. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
तो रक्षित भाई आई अस्यूम ये सही है ना?